Welcome to the next episode of Pajama Drama. Welcome back. Today we're talking about building your emergency phone. Your emergency phone. Let's try that again. Today we're talking about how to build your emergency fund. Not the itty bitty little starter one. I'm talking about the full enchilada, 3 to 6, maybe even 12 months of expenses. But first, I'm going to share a little story that'll probably tick you off. As I said, we're going to talk about building your emergency fund and why this should be a priority of yours. I think after everything we all just went through, we probably already know an emergency fund is very important. It will protect you against worst case scenarios, and you'll just always be set up in case something happens, because we never know when something's going to happen. I wanted to share a little personal story to illustrate another reason an emergency fund could be really important. I wish I would have kept the name and number of this woman, because what she said to me, if I didn't have higher self-esteem, if I didn't know a little bit better, could have literally kept me in a horrible situation if I had listened to this terrible woman's advice. Back when I knew my marriage was going to be ending, which is one of the worst things you can ever go through. And I don't get into the details, of course. You guys know I have nothing but the utmost respect for my son's dad. You guys know this. You will never hear a bad word out of my mouth about him. We co-parent great, and he is an amazing dad. But when this all happened, obviously things happened to get to the point where the marriage was ending, or else it wouldn't end. If you've never been through this before, which I had never been through this before and never imagined that I ever would go through it, I was reaching for, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to handle this? I was really looking for guidance. So I had been scrolling online, looking for lawyers and, what steps should I be taking? What's the best way to handle this? And I reached out to this female lawyer down in Florida, because she said that she would give free consultations and really help you get on the right foot if this is something you're thinking about. Yeah, right foot. Okay. This is true pajama drama tonight, people. This was so wrong. So I called up this lawyer, name not mentioned in this video, and I wanted to set up a consultation, a free consultation, as she advertised, to explain my situation and get a little bit of advice on what to do next. The words that came out of this woman's mouth should never come out of anyone's mouth when you're talking to a woman who has just had a baby, who is emotionally devastated, and is really looking for some help. I know she doesn't know me and the kind of person that I am, but not knowing anything about me, she started asking some questions. I explained that we were looking to end the marriage, that I had a baby, and she literally said to me, "It might just be your hormones." Now listen, I know after you have a baby, your hormones are a little nuts leading into it, after, but this wasn't like, it's just that time of the month and I'm a little crazy right now. You guys know I'm not a spontaneous person. I'm not a fly by the seat of my pants person. I'm not a make a decision without having full information kind of person. I am a calculated pre-planner. And if I'm making a big decision, it's because a lot of thought, months, maybe even years, put into a decision before it's actually put into fruition. So for this woman to basically dismiss the fact that we wanted to end our marriage because I was hormonal was appalling. I said, let's just get around the fact that maybe it's not just my hormones. In my situation, can we discuss a little further what would happen? And she was like, well, how much money do you have? which was obviously not much. She's like, well, then how are you going to pay for things? It's like, with a job. She's like, well, where are you going to live? And I'm like, well, these are all the things that and she was like, I'm not even kidding you guys. She was like, I don't know what you think you're going through, but what do you want to be, a single mother? Like I'd be the first one on the planet and like this was the worst thing in the world. I was like, well, it does look like that's what is about to happen. And not knowing anything about my situation, I'm not kidding. Like not knowing if I was in a safe situation, which I was, by the way, but not knowing any of the dynamics of this, she said, I really think you just need to get over yourself and figure this out and stay together with him. Because otherwise, what are you going to do? This was the advice of a successful female lawyer in Orlando to me. Again, a person with lower self-esteem, a person that couldn't see their way around at this point, could have really stuck with a situation that was not healthy for the relationship because of this terrible, terrible advice from a so-called expert. I feel like there was more to this conversation, but I'm just giving you the highlights. Suffice to say, it was horrifying that this is what this woman was dishing out for advice. I know right now you're going, Kate, what does this exactly have to do with the emergency fund? But I promise you I'm getting there. But I do want you to know, if you are a person right now that is on the verge of divorce or thinking about it, or you're in a marriage that is no longer healthy for the two of you, and you're looking for ways to get out of it, there are ways to get out of it. And now this is providing it's not a safety issue. Let's just talk about run-of-the-mill, unhappy, perhaps, things happening that are not safety related. That's a whole other issue. But if you're looking to end your marriage and you're looking for ways to successfully succeed, there are ways to do it, or else I wouldn't be here right now. Being a single parent is not worst case scenario. Being a single parent should not carry the stigma that it once did or should have ever really been. And I want you to know, hear me right now, if you're a person struggling and you're like, well, I can't do this because I won't be able to afford it. I will tell you, it is going to be hard and it's going to take some hard work, but there are ways to get there, again, or else I wouldn't be here talking to you right now. So please do not feel helpless, and please do not listen to crappy advice from people that don't care about you. Please know that before I continue. But moving on, the point being, I don't want any of you watching this to ever feel in that hopeless, desperate, terrible, dark place that I was feeling at that time. And I think that one of the ways to prevent this is to have an emergency fund. This might not be your situation. You might be single and blissfully happy. You might be in a super happy, super healthy marriage, and this is not on your radar. But there are other things. There's job loss. There's pandemics. There's lots of things that can happen. There's illness. There's things that can come up, and if you are not prepared, it will be way more stressful than if you were prepared. And I want to talk about being as prepared as possible so you never have to be in a hopeless place. I just rewatched the video I did on your starter emergency fund, which is the goal of $1,000 to start off with. If you haven't seen that video, I will leave it at the very end of this video. You don't have to go watch it right this second. I will leave it at the very end for you to watch next. You should start there, and then we'll eventually move to this, which is your 3 to 6 months, maybe even 12 months if you can get there, but starting with 3 to 6 months in case an emergency happens. Emergency, again, for our purposes, is job loss, medical bills that are unexpected, something big, not Christmas, not you want a new handbag. I'm talking emergency. The video that you're gonna watch on the starter emergency fund is step one of this, and then what you'll do is just build on it later, okay? So if you follow Dave Ramsey, he suggests having a starter emergency fund of $1,000. Baby step 2 is to get rid of all your debt except the house. Step 3 is your full emergency fund, which is 3 to 6 months expenses. And then the extreme on that is like 12, but start with 3 to 6, like I just said. Watch that video because I'm gonna give you some tips in there on how to get that emergency fund started and why it's important. But now, just for all the examples I just gave you prior to this and the story that I just gave you, having an emergency fund can save you in so many different ways and really help the K Squad not have sleepless nights and just live a better life when you are prepared and you don't feel like you have to make decisions out of fear. If you have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund stored up, you know when disaster strikes, you've got 3 to 6 months. And that is a game changer. You don't have to operate out of fear. You don't have to make decisions out of fear. I can't stress enough to you how important this emergency fund is and how much peace of mind it will offer you. If you want the full details of how I was able to save up $30,000, $20,000 to pay off my car, and $10,000 for my emergency fund, I will leave a video at the very end that will give exact details on what I do, how I budget, and how I got there. So please watch that at the end. So when we're done this video, watch the $1,000 starter emergency fund video and this other one. I will leave them both at the end so you can watch them. Today, I'm just gonna focus on 2 things to add in addition to those videos. I really think those are gonna be super helpful, but the other 2 things that I wanna add is number 1, something I'm learning from the book that we are reading together as a K Squad on Sundays, which is book club. We meet every single Sunday, except if it's a holiday, on Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to discuss the book of the month. Right now we're reading this, I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi, and he offers the 10 rules for a rich life. And what I'm gonna do right now is just highlight number 2 in order to get the most bang for your buck, I would say. He says, focus on the big wins, the 5 to 10 things that get you disproportionate results, including automating your savings and investing, finding a job you love, and negotiating your salary. Get the big wins right, and you can order as many lattes as you want. The reason I bring this up is if you can get some of the big wins in, guys, if you aren't joining us on Sunday, please join us for more on all this information. But if you can get a job that pays well, if you can automate your savings, so you're saving every single month, there are so many things that you can do to get the big wins out of the way. And then you will have, again, disproportionate results if you can get those things right to start with. The second way would be to focus on one thing to get some momentum going for your emergency fund. For example, I don't know why this stands out in my head, but I had a friend that was trying to lose weight and she lost a ton of weight. And I said, girl, what did you do? And she said, I literally only cut out soda. That's the one thing she was doing that was contributing to the weight. She drank it around the clock, and all she did was eliminate soda. That's literally all she did, and boom, the weight fell off. So what I'm gonna recommend, maybe a quick way to build that emergency fund up as quick as you can, is to maybe find your one thing that you're spending excessively on. And then I also wanted to offer perhaps switching it up either weekly or monthly until you get there. So say one month you're like, we're not eating out this month, and you don't go out to eat at restaurants for the month. But you know the next month you're gonna be able to do that. But the next one you're gonna cut out getting coffee every week. Standard example. Or maybe you buy clothes all the time. So maybe one week you say, I'm not buying clothes this week. Whatever your kryptonite is, whatever the thing is that you spend money, might I suggest just trying to either do it for a month or a week, wherever you can stand to cut it out to get there faster, to save the money faster. Month would probably make the most sense, but if you can't go a month, switch it up weekly or bi-weekly, whatever works for you. Cut that thing out so you can build up your emergency fund as fast as possible. On top of that, I have endless frugal living videos. If you click on my playlist, frugal living or budgeting, saving money, there's lots more to watch. I have hours and hours of tips that can be helpful if this is something you are working toward. But again, I can't stress enough how an emergency fund can change your life and put your heart, your mind, and everything at peace and really cut down on the financial anxiety, if you know what I mean. I don't ever want a member of the K Squad to feel the way I felt the day of that conversation. I really felt in a hopeless place, and I don't ever want you to feel that way. I want to be there for you, and I want to offer solutions to get you to your goals. I hope you got some value out of today's video. Now is your turn. Please leave in the comments your strategy or one of your best tips that helped you save your emergency fund, or if you don't have one, what's the one thing you're gonna focus on to get one? If you're not subscribed yet, I'd love to welcome you to the family. Just hit that red subscribe button, smash that thumbs up if you like this kind of content and wanna watch some more. And also hit that little bell icon so that you're notified each time I upload. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, everyone, and please remember, you are never in a hopeless place. There are always ways that you can get to where you need to go. Reach out for help to the right people. You are never alone. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.